Succession's huge presidential contest has finally taken place. The build-up to the crucial presidential election between Republican candidate Jared Mencken and Democratic candidate Daniel Jimenez, which finally took place, was a major theme in Succession seasons 3 and 4, even if it wasn't the main plot. The death of Logan Roy, the antagonist from the Succession, was one of several shocking twists and revelations that have characterized Season 4 thus far. The numerous employees of Waster Royco are divided between the two fictitious candidates, but the Roy siblings have persisted in keeping a close eye on the election. On election night in Episode 8, the Roy siblings are running ATN as their diverse ideologies and personal convictions clash. By the end of Succession Season 4, Episode 8, it appears that Republican presidential candidate Jared Mencken is in office, despite the fact that it was a close race. Jared Mencken beat Daniel Jimenez by a slim margin, according to ATN's results, winning the presidency. However, Mencken may have lost because ATN was the first network to predict his victory. Although Tom and Waster Royco's pollsters were cautious to declare the contest in Mencken's favor so quickly, as a result of their foresight, other news outlets started to follow suit. There is, however, one issue: Wisconsin. As seen in Episode 8, a Wisconsin polling place caught fire on election night, resulting in the destruction of an unknown number of ballots. Wisconsin was the determining factor in Succession's presidential election because of the distribution of the other electoral votes. Because the state was leaning red at the time, ATN chose to declare Mencken the winner. But it was thought that Wisconsin's lost votes would have been overwhelmingly in favor of Jimenez, switching the state and the president. Mencken appears to be the current president, but this could change if Wisconsin's uncounted votes are taken into account. The primary protagonists in Succession disagree about Jared Mencken becoming president, although it's excellent for Roman and Connor Roy. Roman and Mencken have worked closely together during Succession Season 4, with the youngest Roy's son rooting for Mencken to triumph because of the Gojo deal. Roman gets a commitment from Mencken that if he wins the presidency, he will veto the Gojo agreement. This means that Roman will remain Waster Royco's co-CEO because that is the only thing that motivates him. Mencken's presidency is excellent for Connor in a similar way. Connor's ideological alignment is more in line with Mencken's conservative policies than Jimenez's liberal ones because of his libertarian viewpoints. In addition, Connor struck an agreement with Mencken that if he gave up the race, Mencken would secure Connor a position with a foreign government. On the other hand, Shiv Matson and the entire United States of America would suffer if Mencken were elected president. Shiv and Lucas Matson have been actively supporting the Gojo deal. Mencken had promised to scuttle the agreement, so it probably won't happen now. Shiv has put all of her eggs in the Gojo basket, and Matson is the CEO of the company. So when the merger is blocked by the government, they will both experience an unpleasant awakening. The fact that Mencken's presidency is bad for America, though, is a much bigger problem. Mencken is a rather fascist, as even his followers note. Others fear that he may spell the death of democracy. Mencken is undoubtedly a far-right politician. In Succession Season 4, Episode 8, some of his supporters use violence. Succession won't likely go into much detail about Mencken's harm to the U.S., but it will undoubtedly be severe. Kendall is much more divided over the presidential election than the majority of Succession's other primary characters, who all had quite strong opinions. On the one hand, Kendall and Mencken don't entirely share the same ideologies. Kendall is undoubtedly a conservative, but he leans more to the center than the far-right contender for president. Kendall also learned that a Mencken supporter had previously pushed his daughter to the ground. Kendall is hesitant to endorse the Republican nominee because he fears that a Mencken administration would result in further violence against his family. Conversely, Kendall does hold some pro-Mencken sentiments for reasons that are comparable to those of his brother. The Gojo deal is something Kendall truly wants to stop, and he is confident that Mencken will. Kendall ultimately decides to support ATN, calling the race for Mencken as a result. However, he may change his mind by the end of Succession. With his response to the election likely playing a significant role in Succession's closing episodes, the election narrative has revealed that Kendall continues to be one of the show's most complicated characters.